So let's get into it right then. Does Connor Bedard get traded? Because the Regina Pats did not have a good season last year with what this guy is supposed to be the next coming of God knows what you want to talk. Does Bedard get traded because Regina is not winning nothing this year? They're not. They're not. Let's not sugarcoat it at all. They're going to have a better team. Bedard's the guy who get you a bunch of goals, a bunch of points. But do you trade for a 17, 18-year-old? Do you trade for a prospect? Do you trade for this? Do you make that deal and say, thanks, but no thanks? No thanks. But thanks, Connor, but you're an asset to our franchise in Regina. We are building for 2 years down the road. Do you trade Connor Bedard to, say, let's just throw a team out there, Seattle, because Seattle made some other deals and they can make some other, like, I don't know what their draft lineup is, what they have left for draft picks. But does Regina trade Connor Bedard? James, go ahead.
I'll just say it. When the Kamloops Blazers come to Medicine Hat in February on the 25th, Connor Bedard is going to be with them. I think if you have if you're Regina and you have an asset like that, and all you have to do is look at John Tavares in the Ontario Hockey League.
I love that take.
Like, if you're not going to win this year and you don't trade Connor Bedard, that's a mismanagement of assets. And I'm never going to call
it. He ain't there next year.
No. And, like, it would be a shock if he goes back, if they send him back to the WHL, and they would never. So if you don't capitalize on that, it's a mismanagement, and, like, it might cost a job. Like, you can't not – one, I mean, a team should have built around Connor Bedard. But, I mean, when you tank for a player in the Western Hockey League, you get him. You only have a certain amount of time to build around him, and it didn't happen. And now you just have to get anything for him. And, I mean, you look at what the Raiders got for Gooley last year. I mean, double that for Connor Bedard. Like, Kamloops or whoever acquires him is going to give up a lot, but, I mean, he's worth it. It's Connor Bedard, and he's a once-in-a-generation player. You got to get him.
Nathan, your thoughts?
I think he should be traded, but I'm going to say he remains in a Pat uniform. And here are my reasoning. Regina scored more goals than 4 playoff teams last year. They made some moves to address their goaltending, the main one being getting Cohen McInnes from the Everett Silvertips. I think they will keep trying. If they're in a playoff spot when the trade deadline rolls around, I think they will keep Connor Bedard, and they will try to go all in with Connor Bedard to try and win with Connor Bedard. My reasoning for that is Regina is one of the more prestigious teams in the Western Hockey League, and I think it would be a huge hit to fan interest if you trade a player like that. He puts butts in seats in every single building he plays in. Doesn't matter if it's Prince Albert, Saskatoon, Regina, Brandon, Winnipeg, wherever he plays, he puts butts in seats. And you're trading the most marketable player in the entire Western Hockey League.
But he's gone in 8 months regardless.
And that's, I still don't think they trade him. Because I had that conversation with a member of like, you're going to have a lot higher average attendance at the Brent Center with Connor Bedard in a Pat uniform. The attendance will dip, and I just see that as I think it'll come down to a business move more than a hockey move.
Nathan, that's a very good point. At the end of the day, like, these owners, like, they love the game and everything else, but at the end of the day, it is a business. And they're not in it just for something to do. They like money. Like, rich people like money. There's no getting around that. They find ways to make money. If we think that these guys are in it for the love of the game, we're all fooling ourselves. Whether it be the Steinbrenners or whoever, they like money. That's why they do it. They don't do it just to have a team and to, oh, there's my little team playing to win a championship. They like money. And I think you might be right on that. But I also think that Bedard's gone in 8 months regardless, and there'll be another asset 20 years down the road. Yes, they may not make, well, a couple COVID years where you weren't making any money might be a difference too, right? The bankers like their money too. So, no, I James, I'm going to side with you. If you, like you said, he's going to Kamloops, I kind of leaning towards him leaving. I don't think Regina is going to trade him within the division, within the conference. if they do deal him, I think that he's probably going to a Western Conference team, but he's a big asset, and there's going to be agents and all kinds of people involved on where he goes.